Valentine's Day, a time for roses, chocolates, and possibly a tad too much pressure on finding that perfect gift. But while we modern-day lovebirds may think we invented the concept of romantic gestures, the history of Valentine's Day is far more convoluted than any love note we've ever received. So buckle up for a journey through time as we explore the strange and peculiar types of Valentines from history. Spoiler alert, some of them might make you rethink your gift choices. The Roman Valentine. If we want to get historical about it, let's start with the Romans, who were way ahead of us in terms of mixing religion with romance. The story goes that there was a priest named Valentine who lived under the reign of Emperor Claudius II. Legend has it that the emperor outlawed marriages for young soldiers, thinking that single men made better warriors than married ones. Valentine, not a fan of the emperor's decree, went ahead and married young lovers in secret. After all, what's a little sneaky romance in the name of true love? When Valentine's action was discovered, he was arrested and Claudius sentenced him to death. But before his execution, Valentine did the most romantic thing imaginable. He sent a love note to the jailer's daughter, who was a blind woman. The note was signed, "From your Valentine." So the next time you find yourself in a pinch over writing a meaningful card, just remember that Valentine's Day originated with a death row love note. If that doesn't set the tone for your relationship, I don't know what will. The medieval Valentine. Let's leap into the Middle Ages, when the concept of Valentine's Day was all about courtly love, chivalry, and very questionable poetry. These days, we think of a Valentine as a simple card or maybe a bouquet, but back then, a Valentine was more like a contestant in an extremely strange dating show. The knights of the medieval world were the original hopeless romantics, spending their days jousting and their nights composing sonnets for their beloved ladies. These knights would often participate in a tradition called courtly love, which was essentially an elaborate, sometimes ridiculous system of affection that was all about showing your unrequited love from a distance. Imagine sending roses to someone who might not even know you exist, hoping that one day they'll notice your 300-line sonnet. This period also saw the rise of Valentines as specific messages or tokens exchanged between lovers. These tokens were often in the form of handwritten notes, carefully crafted to express longing and desire. However, since the people of the time didn't know how to casually text someone, "Hey, what's up?" these messages were often ridiculously over the top. You'd get lines like, "My lady, you are the sun to my moon, and without you, I am but a mere mortal without the wisdom of the stars." Basically, medieval Valentine's Day was a literary circus. You couldn't just tell someone you liked them. You had to pen your feelings like you were writing the next great epic. The Tudor Valentine. As we step into the 1500s, the Tudors were firmly in charge of England, and Valentine's Day had become a little less about secret notes and a little more about public declarations of affection, sometimes with disastrous results. Enter the infamous Henry VIII, who was arguably the most prolific dater in history, having 6 wives over his lifetime. While he might not have been the best example of true love, Henry VIII did have a flair for celebration. On February 14, 1536, he and his second wife, Anne Boleyn, exchanged Valentines, cementing their status as the ultimate romantic power couple. Until Anne was executed, of course, but let's not dwell on that. However, it wasn't just royal Valentines that was all the rage during this period. In Tudor England, commoners got into the act too. Instead of chocolates, they might exchange a Valentine's card, often adorned with artistic depictions of love. The cards weren't quite as professional as today's Hallmark masterpieces. They were usually homemade, featuring flowers, birds, and a smattering of overly affectionate poetry. Imagine the cringe factor when you received a handwritten card that read, "My heart beats only for thee, for thou art the apple of my eye. If thou wilt not be mine, then mayhaps I will cry." Poetry wasn't just bad back then, it was potentially career-ending. The Victorian Valentine. The 19th century saw Valentine's Day transform into the commercial juggernaut we know and love today. The Victorians were masters of extravagance, and when they turned their attention to the Day of Love, they went all out. Valentine's card became highly decorative, often with lace, silk, and a variety of sentimental images. But unlike today's cards that aim to be funny or sappy, these Victorian cards were serious business. It wasn't uncommon for a Valentine's card to feature a sad-eyed angel holding a broken heart, signaling a love unrequited, or a love doomed to an untimely end. A romantic, right? But the Victorian era also saw the rise of grotesque Valentines, a tradition that's largely forgotten today. These cards were designed to mock unrequited love and even to express disdain for the recipient. The modern Valentine. And now we arrive to the 20th and 21st centuries, where Valentine's Day has evolved into the chocolate and roses extravaganza that we know today. Thanks to the magic of advertising and retail, Valentine's Day has become a billion-dollar industry, complete with fancy dinners, overpriced gifts, and the occasional I love you over a dinner for two coupon. The modern-day Valentine has become a marketing machine, sending millions of roses, heart-shaped boxes of chocolates, and teddy bears into the hands of those who might be romantically inclined, or just desperate to maintain appearances. Of course, we've also reached the point where digital Valentines are a thing. We've come a long way since the Romans, haven't we? Valentine's Day, it turns out, has been a bit of a roller coaster. From secret messages on death row, to sending grotesque Valentine's cards, to mocking your crush, it's clear that love has always had a complicated history. So the next time you're struggling to find a perfect Valentine's Day gift, just remember, you're not alone. You might be buying chocolates and roses today, but in the grand scheme of history, it's just another chapter in the long, winding, and sometimes absurd love story of Valentine's Day.